Hey guys, back in the shop again, and I've done a couple of things since the last video. So I put the fenders and all back on. I didn't show it on video just because putting the fenders back on is pretty much the same as taking them off. So I've got a few things done. I got the radiator put in. There again, it's just like taking the old one out. Screws holding it on, transmission lines, electric fan. I've still got a lot of wiring to do. All this wiring over here is just a bunch of mess right now. In the last video, you saw it run. So I'm having issues right now with the power steering pump, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I called PSC, and like everybody else, I can't get them to call you back. From what I understand, they do not have a power steering pump for the 5.7. I may be wrong. Like I said, if they would call you back and let you know, but I can't get in touch with them. So that's what we're going to do today. Hey look, the ball showed up. Anyway, that's what I'm doing today, and it will be this pump here. I had to install the pulley using that kit there. It's just a Duralast from AutoZone, but we'll try this, make sure that it works and all. I don't have linkage and all that kind of stuff hooked up just yet, so I've got a lot of fabrication to do, that kind of stuff. Like I said, more wires on this side. This all goes to the headlights. I've got to figure out the coolant reservoir, the windshield washer reservoir. I've got my vacuum pump for the steering. So that's pretty much what we're going to do today. I mean, there is still a lot to do before this thing starts running. But right now I'm going to hand it over to the boss. The boss is going to do some videoing. So the bumper is held on by just a couple of bolts on the bottom, just so I can, you know, I want to put stuff together. So that's what I'm doing. We'll go ahead and get started with this. This pump, like I said, is from AutoZone. You do have to vacuum bleed this pump whenever you put it on. I think you'll mess the pump up on the internals if you don't do that, so that's what we're going to do. But it mainly just bolts right to the side of the block, side of the heads right here. With 3 bolts, and I think I have this pulley put on in the right spot. We'll check that in a few minutes, but basically that's what I'm doing, and I've put it on wrong already. I guess I need to pay attention to what I'm doing instead of talking so much. All right, that's the right way right there. This port right here will be facing up this way when it's the right direction. I do have this wire here running underneath, so if you do this, make sure that you don't pinch anything whenever you bolt this thing on. Give these a good snug. All right, so that's on. I've got hoses here and here that have to go back on, and I've replaced the O-rings on these hoses, so I shouldn't have any leaks and all that. But let me get the hoses and all attached, and then I'll go through the process of vacuum bleeding your power steering pump. All right, so I've run into a problem already. So this is where I put my hose right here in the power steering pump. That's what size that the parts store gave me. That's what size mine actually takes. I don't know if it makes any difference. The way that these things look on the end, this has got a big hole, this has got a small hole. I don't know what the difference is, but this port here is the same. So I'm gonna swap these out and we'll see what happens. All right, so this is how you vacuum bleed a power steering pump. So with the PSC, I took out the bleeder, the pressurized, it releases pressure, just a tube, anti-siphon valve goes here. So you hook this up with a cup and your vacuum pump. Squeeze that up. You don't want to ever go above 20 inches of mercury. So you can see that it's pulling air out of the reservoir. Just keep pumping this up. We're at about 15 right now. Anytime you crack a line or something like that, because this is a closed system, so whenever you crack a line, this is what you have to do. Sometimes you can turn the steering wheel back and forth and bleed all the air out. A lot of your newer vehicles, newer engines and all that, these pumps, you will have to use a vacuum bleeder. And you can see it's on about 20 inches of mercury now. So we'll just let it sit, and you can see right here, it's pulling air out of the system. So I'm getting it off the ground so I can turn the steering wheel back and forth. Just like that. Now I can easily turn the steering wheel back and forth. And you can see turning the steering wheel back and forth, it moved from about 20 to about 16 or so. So I'll keep doing that, and when it bleeds all out or something, I can pump it back up. And that's how I get the air out of my system before I start it up. You can see right here that I've got fluid coming in to this reservoir. Reason this reservoir is here, you want to catch the fluid here and not let it run all the way into your pump. All right, so back out in the shop today. I stopped working on the steering. I'm having some issues there. The steering pump is being starved for fluid. I think I know what the problem is, so we'll get back on that. But today, back in the shop, I've got my power steering cooler right here, and I'm gonna mount this right in front of the pan, right behind the radiator. It'll go right there. So I've got to make some custom mounts that's gonna come off of the frame, come up on both sides, so we can get that mounted. So that's what we're doing in the shop today. We're gonna use this piece of material. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick, about 4 inches wide. So we're gonna cut some mounts out of that. So it's gonna go right here, like I said. This is kind of a crude drawing, but that's what I'm thinking. It's gonna go right there, go right behind the radiator hose, across in front of the engine. So I'll get this cut out and test it and see what I can come up with. So I got my pattern all done here. So I can make 2 out of a short piece here. So let me go ahead and transfer this and plasma cut these out. and when you're trying to work the boss calls. Hello? All right, so I got these brackets right here all cut out. I've got this piece that will be welded to the frame, so this can bolt to it because I don't like anything to be permanent. So it'll bolt, actually it'll bolt just like that right there up against the frame. All right, got these little tabs right here welded on. Got one here, and I got one over here, which is gonna put this right in there, be up out of the way, and good clearance. So as soon as I get the pieces that bolt to here, to those brackets painted, we'll get them on here and see what they look like. All right, guys, so I got the brackets on. You can see them right here, going up to the cooler, all the way across, bracket on the other side. Like I said, I bolted it on. That way I can take this off if I ever need to, but I'll back away a little bit. That's a nice clean install. It's tucked up out of the way. Not touching anything. Quite solid. So I'm happy with it. I might come back and put some stiffeners right here if I need to. I don't really think I need to at this point, but there it is. So the power steering, check that off the list.